highest level is a tough competitive world, and the recent fortunes of the Japan rugby team serve to illustrate that. The famous win against Wales in June was perhaps the result of the international game through the first half of 2013. But the Brave Blossoms arrive in Wales, having conceded at least 40 points in all 3 of their matches so far in November. Well, kick-off just 6 minutes or so away. Let's catch up with the coin toss, which took place a little bit earlier. Toshiaki Hiroshi for Japan and Alexander Voitov for Russia.
Perfect. Do you know which way yet or not?
Yep.
You're going to go left to right. So as you come out of the changing rooms, play towards the changing room?
Yeah. Put it, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Good match.
Okay, thank you.
Well, there we saw the referee Luke Pearce, so it will be Japan playing from left to right from that angle. Let's take a look now at the teams. Japan start with 12 of their players in action from the first whistle against Scotland last weekend. The NRL champion, the former Australian Craig Wing, is one of those not involved tonight. The Russia coach, Kingsley Jones, combines this role with his job as Lynn Jones' assistant at the Dragons. And part of his challenge is to tap into the huge sporting resources available in Russia. The marquee name, Vasily Artemyev, he there starting on the wing.
We are looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful game.
Well, welcome to North Wales. Myself, Martin Gillingham. Alongside me is Chris Horseman. Well, Chris, 2 sides in the second tier of international rugby. The Japanese have been quite busy over the course of the last couple of weeks or so. Rather less so Russia, who haven't really played for 6 weeks since the end of their domestic season. 2 contrasting approaches. Who do you think that favours the best?
I think it's the old adage, you know, battle hardened or battle weary with Japan and obviously Russia in terms of with their season being the sport being a summer game. It's how they're going to be undercooked. I mean, looking at the 2 teams, obviously they're second tier nations. You've got to say that Japan recently have really stolen the march. I think obviously the great results they had both against Wales in that test series, and obviously the performances against Scotland and New Zealand shows exactly how the game's progressing over there. Obviously we know the foreign imports they bring over there, but the base of their homegrown players is really growing, and you can see that with the national side and how they're developing.
Well, there you can see on the right the Russia captain Alexander Voitov leading out the men in red today. Red shirts and red shorts. And on the far side, the Japanese. The Japanese, the Brave Blossoms, world rank number 14 against Russia, who are ranked 19 according to the IRB. This match taking place in North Wales thanks to the Conwy County Borough Council, part of the International Rugby Series, a series of matches happening over the course of November. And it's quite a contrast, the 2 captains. Toshiaki Hiroshi, who plays on the right wing. Alexander Voitov, who's one of the small number of Russian players with a good grasp of English. It rather helps, of course, when your coach is the Welshman Kingsley Jones. These days, supported by Tony Hanks, the New Zealander who came over to these parts. He was the director of rugby for quite a while at Wasps before moving up to Sale, 2 clubs in the Aviva Premiership.
I think you can tell with both
the formality of the 2 anthems. Well, the Japanese squad focusing not only on this match, but I'm sure also thinking of their head coach Eddie Jones back at home, who's recovering from illness. Two of the most stirring anthems you'll find in the world. Russia and Japan meeting for the first time in Europe. In fact, they've only met on 4 previous occasions, all of those in Tokyo. Luke Pearce taking charge of a test match for just the 2nd time. Big occasion for Luke Pearce, who's come through the ranks, has been taking charge of a few matches in the Aviva Premiership this season.
Yeah, Reese, you can hear me?
So Russia in all red.
Yeah.
Japan.
Not getting you, mate.
They have made the change in colours.
Hello, Reese.
And they will be playing from right to left.
No, Reese, I'm not hearing you. Is the comms man out? Sorry, it's 2 minutes. Problem with this.
So we're all set to go. The most recent meeting of the two teams back in 2010 in the Prince Chichibu Memorial Stadium in Tokyo, and Japan inflicted a 75-3 defeat on the Russians.
I mean, this week I've spoken to Kingsley, because obviously they've been based up here at Park Areas, and listening to him talk, you know, obviously they're very much looking forward to this game, but obviously with their players being undercooked, you know, the big thing for them is how they can cope with the physicality in the start. So it'll be interesting to see, because we know how well Japan started against New Zealand. If they start that well against the Russians, how can they cope with that with the lack of game time?
Well, Japan with 9 of the 15 who started in that famous 23-8 win against Wales in June. It was very much a second string Welsh team, with so many players away with the Lions in Australia. Yet it was an official test victory, and came just a week after Japan had run them very close indeed.
Time on, please.
So we are all set to go, and it will be the fullback Ramel Gesa who gets us underway. The first catch, a clean one from the Japanese. Back to the scrum half, that was Tanaka. Crucial, I think, the first 10 minutes for Russia to make every tackle. And here you can see the Japanese threatening to run through already. That's a terrific break from Fujita. Fujita, one of the changes from the match at Murrayfield last week. He started from the bench. Just 3 changes to that side.
Yeah, we can see here
Japan today. Referee playing the advantage now to the Japanese, up to the Russia 22. Tanaka again with his hands on the ball.
Still advantage.
This Russian team, very good athletes, but in terms of international rugby, still very early in their time. They went to the last World Cup in New Zealand, taken back there by Michael Broadhurst, the New Zealander. That was Shota Hori, who plays Super Rugby for the Melbourne Rebels.
It's the speed of the ball at the moment. Russia have got to affect this in this contact area. They're not getting anyone over to slow the ball, so Japan have got another penalty advantage. They're just being able to recycle this ball at will at the moment.
Forcing a second penalty, and that was against Alexander Kudyakov, who plays for the Krasny Yar club. It's been a shift in the balance of power in domestic rugby in Russia over the course of the last couple of seasons. You'd have looked at a Russian national side back at the World Cup time, only, a couple of years ago now. It would have been dominated by clubs from Monino, which is the big Moscow club, but the balance of power has shifted east, and it's now Krasny Yar and NSA STM, two clubs from the same region out towards Siberia, and that shift in the balance of power rather reflected in this Russia squad. Here's Ayuma Woramaru.
Interesting decision this, to go to points early on. I would have thought, you know, the speed of ball they were getting in terms of the attacking intent they were playing, you know, I think they should have maybe gone for a scrum on an early line-up, put the pressure on Russia. This just allows Russia to regather themselves, get the ball back down in Japan's half. You know, obviously they want to win the game, but you would have thought with the intent they were playing, perhaps maybe go for that line-out.
So pragmatism, but rather raises the stakes for Goramaru. 7 points against the Scots last weekend. Very different atmosphere here in North Wales. He's got a very relaxed kicking action, and he's on target first time up. So Japan leading by 3 points there.
Yeah, I think Russia need to put this ball deeper. You know, they put it up to compete, but the Japanese side were very, very well organised in terms of their pod of getting the catcher up. I think what they need to do is to put this deeper into the Japanese territory, get Japan to kick the ball, because it's been 4 minutes almost now, and Russia even haven't touched the ball. And the longer this goes on, obviously, the more it breeds confidence with Japan.
Gasin, the young 22-year-old fullback, gets the game back underway. One vastly experienced player on the Russia side. He took that Artemiev, and he's in the thick of it. Failure to take the catch there.
It was a knock-on. Then it touched the Russian player.
Hitoshi Ono.
Looking forward to this with the scrum. Obviously, you're looking at the Russian side; they're a very, very big side. But I've been interested to watch the Japanese scrum recently, particularly in the Scotland game. I mean, they scored one of the tries from a turnover ball on the Scottish scrum. Particularly with the new engagement sequence here, without, you know, it's not become a momentum situation. It's more of a static scrummaging, and then there's the competition. So that new rules have certainly suited them.
Bind. Set.
Anton Ryabov.
Yes,
the scrum half for Russia. Only just his 11th cap. Look out for the number 8 for Russia tonight, Viktor Gresev. Not the tallest number 8, but he's very, very fast indeed if he gets an opportunity. Onto the edge of the 22. Russia will look to keep the ball in hand just a little bit here. Totally out of the game in the first 4 minutes, but they're up to the 22 now. It's Ryabov.
You can see Russia's intent here to get their big forwards to carry and to suck in a few of those Japanese defenders. But the speed of the ball they're getting is not quite as quick as the Japanese, and you can see the Japanese have been able to get their line to reform there as a defensive wall.
It was a neat pick-up by the fly half Sergei Sugarovov, but then it was eventually knocked on. Through the first 5 minutes, Japan leading by 3 points to nil. Both these sides have yet to secure their place in the World Cup in 2 years' time.
Your side out.
Japan, they will have to be the winner of the Asian Nations Cup. They've won it for the last 6 years, having won all 4 matches in those 6 years, 24 out of 24. So if they can win their 4 next year, then they will book their spot.
Set. Yes,
as for Russia at the moment, they're in a 3-way battle for 2 guaranteed places with Romania and Georgia. Those are the additional spots for European teams. The 3rd European side will go through to the repechage, and in some respects I think Russia might quite fancy being the repechage side, because it would put them in the same pool, that pool of death, as Wales,
There we go.
England,
We're back.
Australia. And I think one or two Russians, well, if you're going to go out, you might as well go out on the biggest stage.
Go out in a blaze of glory. That was a good clearance set there by the Japanese. Good solid scrum. Forwards cleared, took the ball up, and then a nice kick there. Interesting as well, the line out. I know Steve Borthwick is coaching the Japanese line out, and we know what a tactician he is with it, so be interested to see how they compete here.
Worked well, good two-handed take there from Butenko. He's to fly half again, Shukrabov.
That's good.
Chip ahead. Didn't go to hand. And in possession though, just inside the Russia half. Taken forward that time by Broadhurst again. Broadhurst, who plays his club rugby for the Rico Black Rams. Losing the ball, it went backwards. 5 minutes inside the Russia half. Here comes the scrum half again. That was Tanaka. A little offload.
This is very good rugby from Japan. Everyone's pushing themselves up to the line. They're always an option, and Nine's really good and busy around the base. He's bringing his forwards in, he's sniping, he's really keeping that Russian defence honest.
Oh no, the fly half got himself tied in just a little bit, and then the pass a little bit loose out to the captain, Hiroshi.
Some nice rugby being played here by Japan, a real good mix. You know, they're not afraid to use those big ball carriers they have in the back five of their scrum. But like I say, what's really good is the mix in terms of backs and forwards, linking, the offloads. Everyone's a threat, everyone's pushing up into the line. You know, it's causing Russia no end of difficulties in terms of their defensive line. But I think the key for Russia is they need to slow this breakdown at the moment. Sort of Japan are just recycling this ball at will.
The Schnobeladze brothers in the front row tonight for Russia. This is Valery, earning his 21st cap. Going the way of Japan, so the influence of Steve Borthwick, who is here tonight, will be having an impact. Japan again, just trying to find the gap. Little offload there, which didn't quite go to the hand of Malisau.
Unlucky there from Japan. Once again, what's really working well for them is both 9 and 10, they're actually getting to the gain line. They're not just sitting back and allowing the attack to drift with the drift defence. They're really squaring up, very much like in a rugby league style, committing defenders, and then those guys are pushing through for that offload. And, you know, it's not quite coming off yet, but you can definitely see the intent. You can see the way they're trying to play this game.
So the Russia front row, Valery and Grigory Schnobeladze.
Wait for me.
Actually play for the big rivals, NSA and Krasnaya.
Crouch.
Grigory, the loose head, the younger of the two, at 30.
Yes, 9.
I bet they certainly had a big bill for food in their house growing up.
Look at the power there of the Japan scrum. Tanaka onto Ono. Once again,
Advantage Russia.
hands of Malisau. That time, rather letting him down. Chance here for Russia to clear it.
Inside, Andy. Advantage over.
Good clearance kick, but wasn't going for touch.
They needed to get that off field, just give them time to realign, but once again they're just kicking this ball back to Japan. Japan will recycle it, they'll get their attacking structure in, and obviously you can see here 9 sniping again, looking for those forwards, but this time he plays at the 10.
It's Kose Ono from the Centauri Sun Goliath club. We're playing the advantage here to Japan. That was Alani who had it, the number 8. 10 metres inside the Russia half. Forward there by Atakayama. His 48th cap today. This is better from Japan. Good offload to the fullback, Koromaru.
This is where Japan just need a little bit of composure here. You know, once again they're in this red zone again. Just need to make sure these passes stick. They don't have to score with the first pass. They just need to make sure they're recycling, sucking in those Russian defenders.
He hit that time on Luke Thompson. Thompson, another of the New Zealanders. would have served his 3 years in Japan. A chance to break away here, and Artemiev is there, and Artemiev's got real pace. He got his right boot to it, and now Ostrusko is after it, and Ostrusko is going to score and do so between the posts. Well, it does go to show you here that Japan have to be mindful. Vladimir Ostrusko.
That's just what I was saying earlier. Just, you know, you just need that composure in that red zone. You know, they were almost trying to force it. They're making that initial break, but when they get into that 22, you know, they're just forcing the pass or maybe putting in a speculative kick there. But, you know, this really is a try against the run of play if ever I've seen one. But, you know, good chase from the Russians and good composure here to just dot it down.
So Vladimir Ostrusko. He's been on the fringes of the Russia side for a number of seasons. Operates rather in the shadow of his illustrious wing on the other side, Vasily Artemiev, who helped set that up, and Ramel Gesa. 15th tonight, Igor Klushnikov, who is one of the first names on the team sheet for Russia normally. He's been rested for this November period.
Be careful with the potential obstruction in the field.
Well, that'll certainly give the Russians some confidence there. You know, obviously defensively they're under pressure, but obviously they didn't concede that try. So, you know, they got through that set, they've got themselves a score. So hopefully that'll build the confidence for them to show their attacking game.
Fielded there by the neighbour eight. There is Viktor Gresev.
Taken in 7 stop. That's good.
Taken back into the 22, so they didn't have the option of going directly for touch. There's the fullback, Romaru. Back to the captain, Horosi. Horosi, good positioning there from Gesa, the Russia fullback.
Not the best kick there from Russia. That really needed to go off there. He's in his 22, just throwing the ball straight back to Japan on the front foot again.
Brigitte.
Another good carry there
from Tui. Great break from the fullback, Goramaru, but he tried to offload and he couldn't find So. And the ball has gone forward, but terrific work there from Ayuma Goramaru.
Time off.
I think Japan have just got to have the confidence here. You know, they don't need to try that miracle pass. You know, it's that old adage in rugby, you know, win the game early, score the points later on. They've just got to keep hold of the ball, keep going through the phases. Like I say, the mix with their play in midfield is great. You know, their big back five runners are running off 10, running off 12, running off 9. They're causing problems for the Russian defence. But like I say, when they're getting into that red zone, they've probably blown about 2 or 3 opportunities now.
Japan have played several times in Wales. They have yet to win here. They played 2 neutral matches as they're doing tonight, so this is their 3rd. They didn't win either of those, and they were beaten by Argentina in Cardiff, 33-12, and then 43-9 by Samoa in Wrexham, which isn't that far away from here. Both of those matches during the '99 World Cup, so 14 years ago. Taking the line there from Luke Thompson.
It's a very good drive here by the Japanese forward. The ball's at the back, all the other forwards are just working past the ball. Just, let's say, patience here and they should get over.
Shochihori is controlling it there at the base. The hooker. And the try has been awarded by Luke Pearce, and that was very well coordinated by the Japanese pack. And it's Hendrik Tui in the end who gets the try.
That was a great try there by the Japanese forwards. I think the key with the driving maul is obviously that ball transference. Get the ball to the back, and then all the other forwards just keep working past the ball. And you can see there that maul's nice and long and thin. Very difficult for the Russians to get in, and that's good composure by the Japanese.
Hendrik Tui making his 17th appearance for Japan tonight.
Number 7, Michael Provost.
Japan have won 5 of their last 8 test matches. The early and middle part of the year going very well for them. they did lose their first match of this tour, and I placed that first match in inverted commas because it was at home against New Zealand, but the scoreline, I think it'd be fair to say, did flatter the All Blacks just a little bit. Goromaru makes it a 7-point score, 10 points to 7.
Yeah, you're right about that New Zealand game. I haven't watched it myself several times. You know, I think with 30 minutes in the first half, it was 7-6 to the All Blacks. It was only a couple of mistakes at the end of that first half that let them in, New Zealand. But, you know, Japan will be happy with that riposte. Nice and early, just get back into the game.
Facing with the restart. Good time from Andre Garbazov. Garbazov, Kingsley Jones has moved up from the back row. Garbazov earning his 50th cap for Russia tonight, so he reaches a milestone.
Taken in.
Scrum half.
Stop 2.
Tanaka.
That's good.
This is Shukurabov. Strushko is after it, but it was rather too deep, and that was a comfortable catch for Seyono.
10 minutes, 11. Keep walking.
Yeah, a bit of a nothing kick there. You know, 3 times they've kicked back now, Russia, and each time nothing's come from it. You'd like to think maybe their back 3 would ask a few questions. It's difficult to get into the game if you're not attacking at the moment. The Russians, all they're doing is just kicking the possession back to Japan. What they need to do is to stamp their own authority on the game. They can only do that if they've got the ball in hand.
Hold on. Japan on the line, please. That's good. Thank you.
So set to go now for Valery Shnobaladze. Now working pretty well at the moment for Russia. 2 centres for Russia here, relatively inexperienced. That was Makovetsky, who has played 33 times for Russia. There's Garabazov. Continue to work the short side over there to the Russians, up to within sight of the Japanese 22. The referee's playing an advantage here to Russia. Shnobaladze reaching out for that. It was almost man and ball, but Luke Pearce brings them back for the penalty.
Yeah, better by Russia there. You can see what they're trying to do. Exploit the whole width of the pitch, keep working to the far touchline, you know, and then get their backs to reload, so their backs are running against those Japanese forwards in terms of that defensive line coming back from the line out there. It's a little bit predictable, you know, in terms of how they're carrying the ball. There's not much sort of invention or sort of skill level in terms of it. It's very brute force, one directional, but, you know, it worked there to get the penalty.
That was veteran Hitoshi Ono coming through to make the tackle there. His 76th international tonight, Hitoshi Ono. Now within 5 of the Japanese record with 81 caps. Hirotoki Onozama, the most caps ever Japanese rugby player. So Rene Gesan, just his 2nd appearance in the red of Russia. With the wind behind him, and he'll be very happy with that. The young fullback, just 22. His 2nd successful strike. It's all tied up, 10 points apiece.
Well, that's good by the Russians, you know, keeping the ball in hand, showing a bit of what they can do. You know, I think they'd be happy after 20 minutes being 10-all in terms of the balance of possession and territory. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now this next 20, to see if Japan can get back into the game or Russia can actually add something.
Restart. Garabazov trying to palm it back.
Okay.
Playing a little loose there from Russia. Good pressure on the Japanese. If they can spread it wide here, there may be an opportunity, but the referee
flag against blue
is going to come back because there is a flag out.
Time off, please.
And it
just give me a sec when you come back.
Against a Japanese player. Let's listen to this.
Thanks. Hang on, mate. Here we go.
Red player with the ball. It's tackled before the ball is caught the ball by a blue player. So tackling man got the ball.
Did you get a number?
I didn't get a number, no.
Okay. Captain, please. Where is he? Yeah.
So it's a tackle without the ball.
It's the same as your penalty over here. The guys must have the ball before they tackle them. Okay, off from the kick. Oh, we didn't get a number, unfortunately. It was a penalty for Russia. Time on. Tackle without the ball.
No malice, just mistiming, I suggest.
Yeah, obviously you can see here It's from the kickoff. He's just a little bit early, a little bit eager there, the winger, on terms of the Russian player there. But like I say, no malice involved or anything, just a mistiming issue.
Yes, Yoshikazu Fujita, the guilty party, who's just 20. She scored 6 tries in a match against the UAE last year. Here's the number 8, Yashi Halani. A numerical advantage here, not much room to play with. And eventually goes into the hands of Ostrushko. Ostrushko can spread it wide here. There's an opportunity. Makovetsky that time. The little chip through from the fly half. Shugrabov. An awkward bouncing ball. Look at the red jerseys coming through very quickly indeed.
No!
You have to say, Ono did very well there. Held the ball up, allowing his defence to come back. Deep inside the in-goal area, but there's the clearance kick.
Yeah, very well. I think it was Michael Broadhurst there, the open side for Japan. He did really well to get back and get over his player there to support him to make sure that ball came back. But there, that phase was a bit of a comedy of error. Russia missing a kick, Japan once again forcing that miracle pass, turning the ball over, and then being back in their own line.
Time off, please.
Looks rather like Colin Yashi Halani is down getting some treatment.
Captain.
Who was a member of the Japanese squad at the last World Cup.
Front of the ball when it starts.
Made one appearance in New Zealand.
Ball carry at the front.
He certainly showed up well early on in this game. He's had a couple of muscular carries getting over the gain line.
Okay,
and you can see he's a bit of a go-to man in terms of that go-forward ball for the Japanese side.
So Valery Shnoboladze will be looking to hit his man here. Which is the option? He goes short to his captain, that's Voitov. Referee playing the advantage here to Russia.
Advantage, tackle, no arms. Number 2. Second advantage.
Referee playing the second advantage here
Back we come, number
for
2,
Russia.
tackle with no arms.
That time it's Shotohori. An illegal tackle, no use of the arms.
Number 2 must use his arms. He can't just dive to his feet with his shoulder. Post score? Okay.
It's disappointing from the Japanese point of view. I imagine the coaches will be pulling out their hair because, you know, ill discipline, you know, a false pass, and potentially now Russia can go into the lead here. You know, Japan need to be a bit more clinical, both in terms of what they're doing in defence, in terms of rash challenges, you know, early challenges, not using your arms, and in terms of clinical in that attack, you know, not forcing these passes, because at the moment they're gifting the Russians the points.
Well, the old Gilbert ball is being flying pretty well tonight for Ramil Gesa.
He's fine, though. He's fine, though. He's fine.
Let's see if he can slot a third. Russia, 19th on the IRB rankings. It's one ahead of Spain, one behind the United States. They're great rivals who they met at the last World Cup in New Plymouth. Gesa, a long approach run. The flags are raised. And Russia in front again.
Well, it's good by Russia, you know, in terms of sport, you've got to take the opportunities when they present themselves. Like I say, the thing that's led in Japan down is just that clinical ability, both in attack and defence. You know, they've just got to be a little bit cooler and a little bit calmer.
So it's the scrum half, Ryabov. Securing possession well. Tenko stepped into play scrum half.
Use it! Inside race.
Shugrabov.
Yeah, good kick, good set there by Russia, just to get out. Obviously the 9 was held into the ruck, forward stepped up, just a couple of phases to get 9-10 back, and nice little clearance now.
Shotohori goes to the tail. Another carry there from Milani, the number 8. From the scrum half, Tanaka.
Offside, is he? Advantage, referee offside.
It's Pronenko has come offside for Russia, so the referee playing the advantage here for Japan, and there's 3 points if they want it, pretty much straight in front. 26 metres out or so.
Yeah, I think they'll take the points. I think it's the right idea. Once again, Japan getting over the gain line at will there. You know, that's what they've got over the Russians at the moment in terms of their ball carrying. There's a lot of footwork in the contact, players finding edges, looking to offload the ball, and just maintaining that front foot ball. And as a defensive side, it's very difficult. Oh, I said he was going for points, and he's not. He's going for...
It's an interesting call, isn't it? Because right at the start of the game, we thought, well, maybe there's an opportunity here to turn pressure into 5 points. Well,
oh, hang on, I think he did say pose.
I pointed for the goal, so you must go for the goal. You can't change your mind. Come back and retake
so
the
Luke
kick.
Pierce is saying
they pointed for a goal.
That they made the initial signal to go for the 3 points, and then Goramaru decided to go for the corner. Luke Pierce making them come back here and retake the kick. I didn't see that terribly often.
No, I think
certainly
that's
not at test level, do you?
I think it's the lost in translation. I think that's where that comes from in terms of that. But like you were saying, it was interesting in terms of the decision to go for touch. What we were saying earlier on, they're being quite pragmatic. I suppose because of that driving line-out try, they probably thought going for the corner. They've got that opportunity again, but taking the 3 points, they'll be happy with us.
Yes, if you're considering the level that Japan are playing at, both these two sides are in the IRB second tier. Japan certainly towards the top end of it. They're world rank 14, that's one ahead of Canada, just behind Tonga. So, Goramaru, straight in front, 24, 25 metres out. No mistake.
Well, after all the confusion of what they were doing, that was a good kick there, and back on level terms in this game.
Well, Kingsley Jones will be pretty happy here, because I think his expectations probably were low when we considered that they haven't had too much rugby. He's only had them for about 10 days to work with. He played half a game, really, against Oxford University at Iffley Road last week. So they come here short of match fitness and short of time together, whereas the Japanese, well, the second string Japanese squad were given a bit of a beating during the week on Tuesday night at Kingsholm by Gloucester, but they have been working together now for a number of weeks.
Yeah, I think Kingsley will be really pleased with this. And like I say, speaking to him in the week, obviously he was a little concerned in terms of preparation time that they've had as a squad, and you know how they would gel. But I think you could see early on that they were definitely short of match practice. But as the game's gone on, you can see they're growing in confidence. The more mistakes Japan are making, the more Russia are growing into the game. And as you say, for Japan, I mean, they couldn't really have had a better preparation. You know, All Black Scotland, you know, they should be well on their way as a group here.
Two assistant referees, both local men, Rhys Thomas and Andy Davis. Luke Pierce, who was certainly based in Exeter, he was moving up to the capital, up towards London. Since the last time I spoke to him, he was involved in the Junior World Championship in Nantes over the course of the summer. This is good from the Japanese, fast through the hands, and that's a terrific break, and it's Malasau. So, great step! Important tackle being made by Makabetsky. But there's still an opportunity here if they can get the ball through the hands to within a metre. That time it was the hooker, Shotohori. And the referee says that it's been held up, but it's going to be a 5-metre scrum. So the pressure not entirely off here for Russia.
I mean, that was brilliant by Japan there. Rather than when they broke the line, trying to force that past the man, just took his time, wait for the support to get to him rather than forcing the pass. But that was from turnover ball from the line out, and that's the best type of ball to play with. Here we can see the Japanese player just bides his time, waits for support, looks around, knows it's not on, and then just recycles that ball. Whereas earlier on they were throwing those miracle passes.
Yes, Malasau, who plays his club rugby for Yamaha Jubilu, playing for his country for the 12th time tonight.
Bind. Set. Yes, 9.
So this is a real test for that Russia front 5 to hold their own, and they're doing pretty well at the moment as Tanaka spins the ball out. Japan again to within 2 metres. There's the pickup. That time it was Broadhurst. Oh, they've got men out wide here. Oh, and then the ball has gone forward. Fujita went over in the corner, but A lack of precision really there from Japan. It was 3 against 1, wasn't it?
Well, the coaches must be absolutely pulling their hair out in the stands. I mean, you know, there's 3-man overlap there. They're just forcing it too much. I mean, you've got to admire the will that they're trying to play with. But like I say, it's that clinicalness. You know, it's that bit of precision in terms of attack and defence. They don't need to force it here.
Well, we've just seen a wonderful break from Malasau, which almost created a try. And then a forward pass which rather threw one away. 13 points apiece through the half hour in North Wales.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Yes,
Riabov, the scrum half. Looking for a solid scrum and a quick strike here to pick up by Gresev, the number 8. Riabov back to Sugarabov, and Sugarabov sees there's an opportunity to make a few metres, and then kicks in field, and that gives Goramaru a chance to set up a counter-attack.
That ball needed to go off there. You know, he's just put his team under massive pressure. But that's good work there by Russia at the breakdown, turning that over. They've got an opportunity if they can move it.
Great turnover. But then the pass just going forward. So a lack of precision from both sides at the moment.
Yeah, you can see this. I think with Russia, you can see it's a lack of precision in terms of they haven't played. But with the Japanese here, it's just they're trying to force it too much. You know, time and time again, they're getting into that 22 with a couple of men to spare, golden try-scoring opportunities, and they're just forcing the passes.
If I was a doctor, I could tell you.
There's the tight head, Yevgeny Planenko. It's half of the Schnobeladze brothers who's down. A bit of the cold stuff over the knee. Two Schnobeladzes from families of Georgian heritage.
If he stays straight, so
these days over in Siberia, over in the east of the country. Sometimes in England in the Aviva Premiership, you get players from Exeter and moan and groan, and particularly followers about maybe going up to Newcastle. Imagine what it's like in Russia.
Certainly some long bus journeys there, I imagine.
Krasny to Monino is a very long bus journey. Take it from there.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I mean, that'll definitely please Brian Moore on his high horse about that. But the scrum battle's been quite even so far.
Yes, Brian Moore, the former England hooker, has got a high media profile in the UK. And all things front row and scrummage is, as you might expect, something of an aficionado, and rather vocal one as well.
Yeah, he's not afraid to give his opinion, let's put it that way.
Luke Pearce rather getting in the way there of Anton Riabov, through no fault of his own, and Riabov having to react swiftly.
Oh, it's good counter-rucking there by the Japanese there, putting them under pressure.
Yes, the knock on from Sergei Sugarov off the fly half.
You can see in terms of the breakdown, the Japanese side certainly have the upper hand both in attack and defence, and just that little bit of extra work, that counter-rucking, slowed down the delivery from the 9 to the 10, which meant the pass was a bit loose, put that pressure on. That's one area the Japanese side has certainly got the advantage in terms of the breakdown.
Yes, it's quite a weekend in North Wales. It's the Park Arias, which when it's full can be home to 5,500 spectators. We've got also got the Wales Rally on in these parts this weekend.
Set. Yes, 9.
This venue, which has hosted quite a few internationals over the course of the last couple of years, it's only been open since 2011.
Yeah, it's certainly it's a great venue. Obviously, working up here with the North Wales rugby team coach up here, it's a great venue, and being part of the Wales 20s coaching setup. When we come up here, you know, we get full houses for the games here. It's a great place to play rugby.
And Chris, if we think of the traditional rugby geography in Wales, south, east, and west Wales, but less so in the north. historically.
No, that's the thing. I mean, obviously with the WRU, the idea was for myself to come up here and coach this North Wales development side. And it's been really successful. We've got a number of players in and around the Wales 20. We got promotion last year up into the Championship, and it actually shows if you put the investment in, there's a real want and a will for rugby to do well up here.
Good solid scrummage again, picked up by the number 8 Halani. Powerful run from So. Options left and right. Tanaka decides to go right this time. 6 minutes to go to half-time. Japan will be anxious to get another score, but then the ball has gone forward.
Yeah, it's getting a bit like Groundhog Day here at the moment in this game in terms of saying the same thing, but, you know, Japan are just forcing those passes, you know, and at the moment they're just letting Russia off the hook, and if it stays going in at 13-all, you know, the Russians will get a lot of confidence from this at the moment. You know, like I say, they're probably territory in possession. It must be 70-70 in terms of both of them in Japan's favour, but, you know, it's 13-all on the scoreboard. I suppose that's all really matters.
Yes, and consider this is a Japan side which 4 or 5 months ago beat Wales, albeit a weakened Wales.
Crouch.
Ran them very close in the other test match as well, both those matches in Japan.
Yes, 9.
Yeah,
Russia really having to play catch-up in international terms.
Not straight 9.
There was great pressure there by the Japanese in terms of the scrum there. That forced that feed in for the Russian 9 there. Be interesting to see what they do now. I think it's a free kick, whether they go for a set scrum to play a back move off it, or do they take a tap penalty.
If you scream and shout at me again, I'll reverse the free kick. Back to the free kick.
Well, Luke Pearce, I think, being fairly generous to Kliniashi Halani, who's clearly making quite a bit of noise out there.
If you scream and shout at me, I will reverse it. Yeah, interesting. But this is the great thing in terms of these internationals. You know, obviously we're looking at the second-tier nations, but also in terms of the officials. You know, it's a breeding ground for these guys to get the experience, you know, to further themselves on the officiating ladder as well.
Stay off. The ball is right.
Yes, I know that part of our audience tonight is in South Africa and Japan, assuming they do secure their qualification for the 2015 Rugby World Cup. They will be in the same pool as the Springboks, also Samoa and Scotland. Tanaka with the pick-up. And there too is Planabono. Important phase this for both sides. Russia will look to protect their try line, but it's going to be a penalty. So what's the call here?
Time off, Captain Russia.
Well, here we go. Let's listen to this. There's going to be a bit of a
those
warning.
kind of penalties away in this area here. Okay, you must talk to your team about entry at the ruck and slowing the ball down. Would you like to speak to them? Yeah. Go on. No, quick.
Well, they may be relatively new to the international game, the Russian players, but they have all the old tricks, don't they?
Yeah, the old cynical play of slowing the ball down, you know, rather give 3 away than 7. But if I was Japan here, I'd definitely go for the scrum, which they have done, because they're having no trouble winning their own ball. And the great thing about if you can guarantee your scrum ball is you're tying in 8 defenders, so it gives you that opportunity to exploit that space.
So Fumiaki Tanaka, the scrum half of Sanyo Wild Knights, another of the Japan players who was part of their squad at the last World Cup in New Zealand. Very difficult to defend this position. 5 metres out, right in the middle. Players evenly split on both sides. The pick up from the number 8 Halani. They've driven him up to the line, but they haven't got him over it yet. There it is for Tanaka.
No.
It's Broadhurst this time who has a go. Tanaka is going to go wide this time. So was caught rather flat-footed. We have to admire the Russia defence here. 2.5 minutes remains until half-time, and they've turned it.
Yeah, great pressure on the ruck there. Good counter-rucking, you know, piling the bodies in there and making it difficult and getting that turnover. They've got to make sure they clear this now.
And that was Riabok and took it up to the 22. Back to the fullback, Kesat. Ball up to halfway. And that was a little bit high from Makovetsky. The referee lets it go.
Thanks, Ray.
Oh no, the fly half. Mori. To Broadhurst. Well, certainly if Russia can go into half-time level, Kingsley Jones will regard that as a major success.
Yeah, definitely they'll be pleased with this, but like I said, they've got to start slowing this ball down at the breakdown, because Japan are just getting over the advantage line again and again. But once again, another bit of inaccuracy in terms of their handling, and another opportunity goes.
Yes, Kosiono coughing it up in the tackle.
First by Japan, then by Russia. Scrum Russia.
Yeah, this is it must be very frustrating for the Japanese coaching staff. I mean, you can have all the best laid plans and have the right game plan, but in terms of if your basic skills are letting you down, your grip, your carry, your catch, and your pass, the game plan goes out the window, and vice versa for Russia. This is great for them at the moment. You can just see the confidence they're growing. In fact, even their defence now is starting to become more offensive, where they were drifting, soaking up the tackles, they're getting on the front foot, they're starting to affect the game line, and you can see the confidence growing within the group.
Crouch.
Well, one or two observers were predicting a one-sided contest. In terms of territory and possession,
Stand up, please.
there's no doubt that Japan have dominated. The scoreboard reflecting
too much
it's an even
movement.
contest.
Must stay still. Must be stationary.
There's a lot of pressure coming through the Japanese loose head here. Slightly illegal. I mean, the ref's coming to have a look at this side. He's kicking his backside out and driving across the scrum onto the Russian tighter. It's interesting. I think that's why the referees come around this side to have a look at it.
Will you be close enough when you crouch?
Masataka Mikami
Thanks to.
is the Japan loose head.
Crouch.
Plays for Toshiba Brave Loopers.
Set. Yes, 9.
As the referee's there, he stays nice and square, as all good props would do.
Thanks,
Strike there, and that's
good.
the hoof upfield. And the ball goes into touch, and that will be the last action of the first half.
It's touched.
Well, Kingsley Jones will be happy with that.
Yeah, I think he'd be very happy in terms of what his team have done in defence. But like I say, the Japanese coaches, I can imagine there'll be quite a few raised voices in that changing room. They've created opportunities, but they're not taking them.
So half-time in North Wales. Japan 13, Russia 13. Welcome back to Park Arias in Colwyn Bay in North Wales. If you don't know this part of the world terribly well, that's the scoreline, by the way. Japan 13, Russia 13. If you don't know this part of the world, well, as I was driving up, only about half an hour away, you could look across the estuary to the Wirral over to Hoylake, Royal Liverpool Golf Club, which is hosting the Open Golf Championship in the relatively near future. So you're in that right in the north of Wales, just across the bay from the Wirral and Liverpool. So it's a very interesting part of the country, North Wales, which traditionally isn't rugby heartland in Wales, but this facility here, the Park Arias, which was opened up in 2011 thanks to some support from Welsh central government as well as the European Regional Development Fund, has become certainly a new hotbed of rugby in North Wales. Well, it's Chris Horseman, myself, Martin Gillingham, taking you through the action here. 13 points apiece. Two sides separated by 5 places in the IRB rankings, but you can't separate them on the scoreboard. You'd have thought, though, the Japanese, they would have had a rather firmer, or rather sterner chat in the dressing rooms than the Russians, because certainly in that first 40, more going wrong for the Japanese than the Russians.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I say, as coaches, it's frustrating when 90% of what you want to get across to the players is working and working well. But like I say, that accuracy, which is letting them down. I don't think they need to do anything different. They just need to do what they're doing, but do it better, really. And I suppose the message for the Russians is, look, stay in this game, limit your mistakes, keep putting pressure on the Japanese side, and try and turn that mental mindset that the Japanese have into a negative one.
The two sides meeting for the 5th time. First back in 2002 when Japan ran out 59 points to 19 winners The 3 meetings since have all been won by the Brave Blossoms, most recently by 75 points to 3 years ago in Tokyo. So according to the form book, this should be a game for the Japan team to win. However, the Russians, who haven't played competitively for several weeks in Russia, rugby is very much a summer sport. So they've had 6 weeks or so since the end of the Russian domestic season. They've only come together in the UK over the course of the last 10 days. They had a bit of a run out against Oxford University 10 days or so ago. The Japanese, meanwhile, have come off a successful June period and are now involved in their 4th game of the November phase. We're back underway. Japan in the change strip, praying from left to right. Eventually mopped up there by Dmitry Gerasimov, one of the players for the NSA club, one of the 2 most prominent clubs these days in Russian domestic rugby, taken forward by Halani, the number 8. Japan will be looking for a fast start. There goes Tanaka. 6 or 7 metres inside the Russia half, out to the fly half or no. Every hit matters. That one, Gerasimov, eventually getting his man down. The ball back in the line. That's Goramaru. Not so much of the first half. It's Japan applying the pressure. Ono with the carry. Up to the edge of the 22 here. There goes So. Powerful runner. We saw that in the first half. Broadhurst that time, the former New Zealander, to within 10 metres. It's a very purposeful start to this second period. Good offload that time, out to the wing. The captain, Hiroshi. Referee playing the advantage now to Japan, so they have the penalty coming. Oh no, the fly half. Looking this time to spread it out wide. Saho cuts in there to within 6 or 7 metres here, Japan. Tanaka, the scrum half, taken forward by Ono, the senior citizen of this Japan side. The referee decides no advantage has come, so we're going to come all the way back for the penalty.
Yeah, very good start there by Japan again. A lot more accuracy in terms of their passing there. You could definitely see they're still playing that same game, that good mix of forwards running off 9, but not just straight off the 9. The 9's getting it, you know, that guard and bodyguard defender around the ruck, making them bite, shortening that defensive line, then putting those big forwards into the gap. And 10's doing very well. He's getting to the line, straightening, playing square, and hitting those big forwards. Nice, good mix there.
Here's the player we just got a glimpse of there in the Japan shirt. That's Luke Thompson. Plays his club rugby for Kintetsu Liners, now in his early 30s, former New Zealander. One of those players who didn't quite crack it at Super Rugby level, ITM Cup level at home. Went in the relatively early days of the Japan League, served his 3 years residency. Now playing Test Rugby, went to the World Cup, Luke Thompson. Another advantage being played by the referee Luke Pearce here. Tanaka looking for the ball. That's the try line. You can see the scrum half has spun it out. Here's the inside run. Again from So. The drive up and over the line. And Luke Pearce has awarded the try. Well, the pressure has finally told. It's a very different performance from the Japanese in this second half.
Yeah, that was a great try there by Broadhurst, 7 there. He fantastic pick up and go around the fringes there. I think in the first half, Japan were a little bit guilty of getting a bit of white line fever with the forwards there, picking and going where they didn't need to. But, you know, they knew they had free ball there because they could come back to the advantage. But it was definitely the inside ball here off 10. Back on those lazy defenders, inside shoulders. Great ball presentation here. And then Broadhurst, like any good flanker, picked and over the line.
Yes, Michael Broadhurst, who only qualified after his 3 years residency last year. His 15th appearance for his adopted nation today. Goramaru makes it a 7-point score, and Japan leading by 20 points to 13. Michael Broadhurst plays the Rico Black Rams. Got a brother, James, you may have heard of him, who plays Super Rugby for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, a very good player, Michael Broadhurst. Watched him obviously in the 2 tests against Wales, and I think he scored a try in the first test on a sort of frontline peel. But very good player, gets in, does all that sort of that nitty gritty, the unseen work, you know, and a very good flanker.
With the restart for the try scorer Broadhurst. Zikov is on. Winning his 13th cap for Russia on the tight head side of the front row.
Japan have got an overlap here if they can move this.
It certainly looks like a very different Japan now, doesn't it? More precision in the offload. That's Goramaru.
Really stretching this Russian defence here, you know. Well, everyone's carrying it, breaking over the gain line. Broadhurst there again, another muscular carry. And here we see more of the forwards getting involved in the action.
Satoshi Onu. Onu, the oldest man in this Japanese side at the age of 35. Well, the referee's going to his pocket here. I think we're going to see our first yellow card. Is it Pavel Butenko?
Slowing down the floor.
Well, in fact, it's Vasily Artemyev.
Post.
Artemyev.
Yeah, I think
something of a poster boy for Russia rugby goes off.
Yeah, I think it was definitely slowing the ball down there, and this is what happens in terms of you know, rugby. If you're making tackles time and time after again, and if you're constantly on the back foot, eventually you're going to get caught on the wrong side of the ruck, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. You're going to get yellow carded there. And I suppose the referee's been consistent. He did warn them in the first half, and here we see, yeah, number 14 there just laying on the ball, making no attempt to move.
He's taken one for the team. That really is just the accumulation of those sort of offences, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing malicious or nasty involved in it, but it's never nice getting yellow carded, is it? That lonely walk off the field.
Yes, Vasily Artemyev, who established his reputation at the Churchill Cup 3 years ago. He played at full-back against the United States in the opening game, scored the opening try of the tournament. Immediately caught the eye of the watching scouts. There's rugby at Franklin's Gardens. Well, we have to admire the kicking boot of Ayumu Goramaru. This many, does he?
No, and that's the perfect start. You can obviously see what the coaches have said, just a bit more accuracy, and they've got 10 points. And it'd be interesting to see with this yellow card. I mean, they say normally it's 7 points in terms of being a man down, but the pressure Russia are under in terms of the amount of ball Japan have got, it could be quite costly, this yellow card for them.
10 points to 0 in the first 7 minutes of the second half. Korshunov is on at hooker for Russia, the former Russia captain. Korshunov, whose name may be recognised by fans of Wasps. He played a short period in the Aviva Premiership.
Yeah, good kick there by Japan, knowing that the Russians are down one man in that back three, so that back three pendulum is under a lot more pressure working there. That's a great spot by the Japanese there, just forcing the Russians out and playing from their own half, putting the pressure back on them.
There's Vladislav Korshunov. Only his 62nd cap, his 61st cap. He earned on this ground 12 months ago against Canada, almost 12 months to the day.
Blood bin. Yeah, okay, we've got a blood change, please, Justin. Thanks, mate.
Change
Just
being made by Japan as well. Hiroshi Yamashita. Kabelko Steelers. Hands on.
Good. Time on.
Took one little cut on the eyebrow, unfortunately. It was one of those dangers of being a front row forward. Oh, big tackle there by Russia.
Korshunov, wasn't it?
Certainly making his presence felt.
Tanaka, I think really felt that.
Your biggest player on the smallest player there, I think.
Korshunov, he's sizing him up, isn't he?
On the line, Russia.
Yeah, one of those really bad ones when you look in the opposite way and you've sort of opened your ribs up for that night hit.
10 metres back.
Quick line out. Well worked there by the Japanese. Another carry from Helani. If they're a different side, aren't they? Japan, and a great break there from So. And he's gone straight through. He threatened to do it in the first half, and now he's doing it in the second.
Yeah, that was great play by the Japanese. It was initially from that shortened line-up, using their back row to tie in the inside and the outside centre of Russia. The forwards then, the Russian forwards are struggling to fold on that defensive alignment, and then it's just weight of numbers here, and this is good accurate passing here. Ball in two hands, good grip, good control, and a great finish there.
The Russian defenders groping in thin air. One or two question marks tonight about the precision of his handling, but his hard, straight running has been a real threat all evening.
Yeah. I think the real difference in terms of the teams at the moment is the back five of the scrums. For Japan, all of their back five of the scrums are offering themselves in terms of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, offering to carry that ball. They're always there, inside, outside of 10, getting over the advantage line. And in terms of the Russians, their back row haven't really affected anything in the tackle. I think they've got one turnover from a counter-ruck, but they're not slowing the ball down. They're not making those offensive tackles. It's just soak up after soak up.
It has been a transformation in this second half. The second try, Ayumu Goromaru. Flag stay down this time, so a rare blemish on his card. 1 man advantage where you talked about 7 or 10 points. There are 5 of them, of course, without the penalty as well. It has been quite a change, hasn't it? Just the last few minutes. How do you explain it?
I think it's just basically that accuracy. Like I say, they haven't changed their approach and how they're playing. The structure of how they're playing the game has stayed exactly the same, but they're not looking for those miracle offloads. They're actually taking their time, and they've just been a bit more patient and a bit more accurate with their carrying.
The high ball from Ramil Gesan, the fullback.
Backwards.
Russia have it. The pick up there from Zhikov. Ryabov went one way. That's Garbasov on the occasion of his 50th international for Russia. Test of character now for Russia. They will have come here not with particularly high expectations, but those expectations will have been raised by that first half performance. This is Makovetsky. They've leaked 15 points in the first 10 minutes of this second half.
Yeah, there we see the accuracy again for the Russian team, but you know, their forwards here are struggling to get over the gain line, and Japan are putting a lot of pressure. Russia have been sending a lot of men into this breakdown, and they're playing off slow ball again.
Garbasov with the quick hands, but and it was put down. Chance here to counter. Tanaka with a little chip ahead.
That's a great kick, spotting that the winger was up there and putting pressure on him.
Well, Gerasimov got himself in all sorts of trouble there, didn't he? He was trying to get his... Oh, and then the quick throw in, but the referee's blown his whistle. That is Dmitry Gerasimov from the NSA STM club.
Signalled it was a Russian throw in there, but I couldn't quite make it out. It looked like it looked like a Japan throw in there, but that was great play there by the halfbacks of Japan there. You know, that intelligent kick, knowing that they're a man down on that wing, the space is up there, putting it over the wing ahead, and that good chase there.
Okay, 2 in the line out, back 10, your receiver.
So 2 in the line out. Here's Vladislav Korshinov. Stolen out of the hands that time of Pavel Butenko.
He was first, and he went backwards.
There's the ball for Japan. That was Tamuru. Inside the 22.
No. Relax.
Knock on there, I think.
Well, it's not the first time tonight for Kuliniyashi Halani. He's already been warned once. He was a little short, I might suggest.
Looks like an individual who likes to get involved in the rough and tumble of the sport. Like I say, it hasn't been a bad-tempered match by any stretch of the imagination, but once again, that little bit of accuracy there, just inaccuracy, shall I say, just crept into the Japanese there, because turnover ball is the ball you want to play with, you know, because the defences and organisers, as coaches, that's the ball you want to play with, you know, because, like you say, you've got that opportunity to attack against an unorganised defence.
So Luke Pearce just pointing out to the Russia captain that this scrum is inside the 22. So if they want to, they will have the option to kick the ball directly into touch. That's the significance of that. Ryabov getting the yes 9 instruction. Look at the pressure being applied. Gressel with a quick pick up at the base. It really has to be the way for Russia tonight. They've been under pressure in the set piece. Gayson getting his kick away just in time. Chance to counter here for the fullback, Goramaru. Gets through the first tackle.
Stolen the tackle.
Well, he's stripped to the ball rather too easily.
I think they've won it back and they've got an opportunity here.
They have got it back, haven't they? There's the inside ball, looks a little bit forward, it was certainly knocked on. Well, both sides giving away possession rather too easily there. First of all, the fullback was stripped to the ball in the tackle, and then the tackler lost the ball immediately again.
Yeah, I think it's been a sort of problem for both sides in terms of that accuracy of pass. You know, we think about it in rugby, you know, particularly a lot of these guys are professional rugby players, you know, the catch and the pass is such an integral skill, and sometimes, you know, under pressure it really comes under sort of the microscope.
So this is the fourth match of Japan's November series. It started off over in Japan, that defeat by the All Blacks, 54 points to 6. They then went to Murrayfield last weekend. They were beaten 42-17 by the Scots. And then the second team, many changes made for the Tuesday night match against Gloucester, where they lost by 40 points to 5 at Kingsholm. But they're on top here, as you might expect. That's Garabazov. 7 on his back. Kingsley Jones has recognised his potential in the second row. Good little break there from the fly half, Shugrabov. He's referred these days to Kushnarev, who was one of the first names on the team sheet, and that was Gressel, who just had his feet into touch. Gressel, who's a powerful runner, and certainly 3 or 4 years ago was one of the standout players for this Russia side. But at this level, still 1 or 2 gaps in his armoury.
Yeah, Cardinal Sinner being pushed out into touch there. Bit of a nothing attack, but I suppose Russia have got a chance their arms. But speaking of Kingsley Jones, I think the problem for him is a lot of the players are based in Russia, and the strength of that league in terms of the competition is, you know, what test are these players getting week in, week out.
There's a lack of depth, isn't there? There are about 3 or 4 really good clubs there, and that's about it.
Where you look at in terms of the Japanese league and the club league they have, you know, I know there's a lot of foreigners there, but it's a competitive league in terms of what they're playing in.
I know the fly half, powerful in midfield. Certainly been puncturing holes in that defence, and a chance here for the wing, and Fujita's got real pace. Good tackle from Strushko, got the first try of the night. There's Ono, the fly half. Japan again to within 3 or 4 metres. Out from Tanaka. Now it's to Tamura. And a good step, and it's another try for Mali Sau. And it's beginning to look rather too easy now for Japan. There has been a transformation at half-time.
Yeah, definitely, and that was a great play again, and it all comes down to that speed of the ball and the gain line. You know, rugby's quite a straightforward, simple game. You know, if you get over the gain line, you're going to be on the front foot, and it's going to be difficult, but those gaps are starting to appear because Russia haven't got time to reorganise that defensive line, and, you know, like I say, they've got some dangerous runners there, and that's another well-taken try.
Japan seemingly on their way to a 5th win against Russia in 5 meetings. Good percentages at the moment for Goramaru. 5 out of 6. Becomes 6 out of 7, so went into the 80% this evening.
Be difficult little spell now for Russia, you know. This sort of the 60th minute, you know, when they start to get tired, I imagine Kings will be looking towards the bench now, bring on a few fresh legs, because if they keep missing these tackles, you know, this score could get quite heavy.
Time is still on.
Well, they've come through the sin-binning period, but it has been costly. With the restart, Artemiev sprinting after it. Broadhurst, one of the try scorers there, with a catch, and he's got through 2 tackles, and he's up and running again. Change in the second row, so Garbasov leaves the field. Justin Ives is also on Milani, so the number 8 has gone off.
That's a great pass there, really flat to the advantage line, and you can see the Japanese, they're all realigned, forwards there running, options inside and out, and the Russians are struggling. They've got a lot of forwards here in midfield, and if Japan get quick ball, they could exploit this.
Oh no, dummies inside. Gets through the first tackle attempted by the captain Voitov. Here's Broadhurst again. He loses it forward in the tackle.
Broadhurst has certainly impressed me again this game. He's been a real presence for this Japanese side. You can see he's been effective in the line-out. He's been very good in terms of the breakdown, all the unseen work. But I think the thing that's impressed me the most is his carry. You know, getting over the advantage line again and again, but just a bit loose with his carry there, just stripped in the tackle.
Alexander Kudiakov was who made the tackle there. So the captain has gone off, and it's the sizeable presence of Denis Antonov, who earns his 16th cap in the second row. Big man.
There's certainly some big individuals in this Russian side, and obviously being based up here with the RGC team, and they've been using the facilities. They've been walking past me in the corridor, and I've been straining my neck to look up. I think there's some very, very big boys there.
It's Antonov and Fatakov now in the second row. Well over 6 feet tall, well over 100 Ks.
Crouch.
Gregory Schnubelatzer there on the loose head side.
Yes, 9.
Instruction there for Ryabov. Penalised for the early engagement. Here's a bit of space here for Artemyev. The chip ahead from Artemyev's got real pace here, and Artemyev, well, he can't gather it. He was certainly given a bit of a nudge as he went through, but he had a bit of time there, I think, did Vasily Artemyev.
He certainly worked something there out of nothing. You know, very, very good kick through, and showed a really good bit of pace there, just lacked that little bit of composure.
Doesn't quite make touch, but there's volleyball skills there from the fly half. Sergei Sugarabov. There's the high ball. Sugarabov is after it. Nobody's underneath it though.
Keep.
And Russi, the captain, they were trying to drive him into touch, but the Russia players failing to retreat the 10 metres, so they're offside.
Yeah, a lot of those Russian forwards struggle to get back. I mean, I can imagine they're pretty tired of the tackling they do, but you know, the kick wasn't the greatest. It didn't really give them much time to get back on side, and another opportunity for Japan just to work themselves into the Russian half and see what they can do attacking-wise, and that's a very good kick.
In that scenario, as a forward, you simply have no alternative but just simply run away. Yeah. You have to do that, don't you? You have to be seen to run away.
Yeah, I think what the ref's looking for is just that intent. You know, obviously, you know, sometimes if you're tired there, but you just need to make that intent to get away from the ball there.
Yes, you can see clearly that little push and a shove that Vasily Artemyev got, but with a little more composure, he maybe should have gathered it. There's Mr. Borthwick, former England captain, Sarri's captain, cutting his teeth on the coaching game here, working with the Japanese.
Yeah, having played with Steve when I was at Bath, you know, he was always one of those lads, even when he came into the Bath side at sort of 18, 19, he's very professional, very methodical in terms of his line-out work, and you can see, you know, with the Japanese side, that's definitely carrying on with his coaching.
Broadhurst again.
Use it, Japan!
Russia now will just simply look to limit the damage. Japan playing with so much more confidence than they were at this stage in the first half. There goes So again, he's looking for a hat-trick here.
Yeah, just breaking the game line at will here. You know, Russia are making soak-up tackles and the speed of this ball, but that's better work there by the Russians, getting in over the ball, and a good little pick-up and drive there.
Yes, that came from Zykov, the replacement tight head. The clearance kick charged down, giving possession immediately back to Japan here. penalty.
Yeah, very cynical there by Russia there. I think they knew exactly what they were doing, slowing that ball down, because I think to the right-hand side that Japan had numbers and there was just Russian forwards there, so I think that was definitely taking one for the team there.
Well, Koromaru is being called forward and being quite deliberate there in where he's pointing after an experience in the first half. Koromaru setting up the line out, 5 metres out.
Japan will fancy themselves. They'll probably go for a full line out here, and I imagine they'll go for the drive, particularly, you know, in the first half they scored that try, and earlier on in the second half they had a very purposeful drive here, so, you know, it'd be interesting if Russia actually go up to compete, or will they just stay down and try and sack this drive.
Sorry, hold on a second. Are you a receiver? In 15, please.
So Shutahori will have confirmed the line-out call. Wearing 20 there is Justin Ives, another of the former New Zealanders.
Over 15.
He's gone to the back to Broadhurst. And here's the drive.
It's a very good setup by the Japanese. Oh, I think he's going to do them there, the truck and trailer, just the back of the, disengaged from the back of the ruck there. He was going forward so fast, the ball carrier just went away from the ruck.
Yes, the ball becoming detached, and effectively it becomes offside and obstruction.
Number 1, Japan.
I think they were sort of they were held to their own misfortune there by the success of the drive. They're almost going too fast here. If we can see here, just takes the ball.
Yeah, that's where it becomes detached.
Yeah, and then it's just that obstruction there.
Yeah, send him on, mate. Send him on.
You know, it's always that fine balance, you know, we say with the driving ball, get the ball to the back, and you'll notice the first person goes in, he never drives forward, he just works himself back to the back of the maul, but obviously got to make sure you don't get detached there.
Right, okay, so one's coming back on.
Well, the Russians certainly unloading their bench.
You got lucky.
Denis Simplikovic is on.
Japan just waits for the ball.
Leaving the pitch.
Another big scrum here for Russia. They've been under a little bit of pressure in the second half. Like I say, I think that's the fatigue with the tackles, but Japan have certainly got a good set-piece unit.
So Ryabov pick up there from Gresev. Releasing Ostrushko. Russia here initially trying to run the ball out of their 22. In the end, putting the ball in touch.
You can see the difference in terms of the defensive organisation there. You can see Japan, they're fast off the line, they're making solid offensive tackles, and they're slowing the ball down. And therefore, Russia having to send in a lot of numbers, the ball's slow, the defensive line can reset and put pressure on that kicker. They've had 2 or 3 balls charged down because of that scenario in the second half.
So Hisatero Hiroshima comes on. He replaces Masateka Mikami. So a change on the loose head side of the front row. To Luke Thompson. Same again here from the Japanese. Let's see if they can coordinate this one. It's Shotahori who's got it. The referee's got his arm out. It's an advantage here for Japan. The cross kick straight over to the right wing, who had time to stop, gather it and score. The captain, Toshiaka Hiroshi.
Very good play there by the Japanese, you know, sucking those defenders in, shortening that defensive line with that effective driving line out. Like I say, once you've got that penalty advantage in the 22, the referee's going to literally let you play until you don't want it. You know, we call it free ball, and that's a great spot there by the Japanese 10. And, you know, a good finish there. Took a bit of composure to do. Ball away from the defender and worked well.
Yes, the Russia defence not really alert to that. It was a kick pass to nothing, because Luke Pearce was playing the advantage for Japan. It looked so promising at half-time, but the second half at the moment, 27 points to nil in Japan's favour.
Well, you can certainly see the team that's been together and played more rugby over this autumn period. As the game's wearing on, you can see the lack of match practice and match fitness is certainly taking its toll from the Russians. But, you know, they've got to be impressed with their first half performance. It's not like they're rolling over here and just allowing the Japanese to do what they want to do. You know, they're still competing. They've still showed a couple of glimpses, and, you know, they're unlucky not to get a try earlier as well.
That was another good strike from Koromaru. just sliding wide though. Yes, the Russians beat Belgium back in March by 43 points to 32, but since then they went to the IRB Nations Cup in Bucharest in Romania, lost to Romania by 30 points to 20, and then were beaten by second string outfits from Italy, the emerging Italy side, by 27 points to 19, and then the Argentinian Jaguars by 30 points to 17. Return to Russia for the domestic season, which has now been over for 6 weeks. So they come here a little bit underdone. The Japanese, after a rather stuttering performance in the first half, have been transformed at half-time. That's a replacement scrum half. So Iwasa out to Broadhurst again, who steps inside. Makovetsky, with a bit of help from his friends, makes the tackle. Iwasa again.
Yeah, it's just this quick ball they're getting. They've got options on both sides here, Japan. You know, Russia not being able to slow this ball down, and Broadhurst again getting over that advantage line. Nice offload in the tackle here.
Yes, to his back row partner, that was Hendrik Tui. There's the captain, Rossi, the most recent try scorer. Iwasa gets the pass out to his fly half, Kosei Ono. So Iwasa again. Iwasa, replacement scrum half, but he started for Japan against New Zealand in the World Cup. Again played at Hamilton. Good step. Space out wide. Well, the Russia defence being tested, but it was a good tackle coming in for Igor Galanovsky.
Yeah, good scrambling defence there by Russia, but you just get the feeling at the moment with Japan, you know, it's only a matter of time before they get another try. Here we see again, you know, forwards holding that defensive line. That's a great step here. Just a pass, doesn't quite hold that defender, and does very well there. Scramble across to get that man into touch.
Yeah, just push back, please. That's good. Okay, you're receiving.
Just for a moment, going to Yamada. Maybe thought there was an opportunity to score on his Test debut. The only debutant tonight. Lutsenko taking the ball in the line out. The last 10 minutes in Colwyn Bay. Japan leading by 40 points to 13. 27-0 in this second half.
That's good.
Clearance taken by Goromaru.
He really needs to get that off. You know, the forwards are tired, and he's just kicking that to their back three for Japan. Oh, and again, another drop ball.
You can't do that. Not on scrum.
Yes, well, it was a good break from Yamada. Here he is, stepping, looking for the support. You'd have to say there was nothing much wrong with that pass.
Yeah, you'd be a bit disappointed with that, but I think the disappointing thing there, I think, for the Russian forwards would have been, look, hang on, we've just defended 6 or 7 phases, we've won a good ball, we've driven up to the 22, we're still inside our 22, kick the ball out, give us a bit of a chance, but Russia just put that ball straight back down to the Japan back three, and we've seen how dangerous they are in open field, you know, not helping themselves in terms of their clearance at the moment, Russia.
Gregory Schnobeladze, I think it is, who's down there on one knee, just getting a bit of treatment.
Justin, I've got 32.5 played. Is that thinker?
There he is, Schnobeladze from the...
Is that what TV got as well?
Krasnodar team. Now 30. I think just his 10th cap tonight.
Bit of running repairs for a front row forward, just to make sure he's probably just a bit of a breather, really, just to get ready for this scrum here. Important scrum for Russia, this.
Stop. Wait for the ball.
It's been a good 2013 largely for Japan. Eddie Jones, their head coach, led them to their 6th successive championship win in the Asian Five Nations. After that they took on Wales. Wales of course had 15 away on Lions duty. Japan lost the first one 22-18. Look at the power there.
That's a very good scrum there by the Japanese, staying low, working as a cohesive unit, and Russia forced to clear that ball but not well enough, and it's another opportunity for these dangerous Japanese backs here, and they make another good line break.
Yes, and Yamada thriving on the space he's getting, taken forward that time from Hiroshima. Far too much space now for Japan. There's some tired and heavy legs on that Russia side, although they've got a penalty here, a chance to clear their lines.
Yeah, good work there by the Russian forwards there, getting over that ball, isolating the Japanese ball carrier. But like I say, it's looking a bit ominous here for the Russians, because the Japanese players are just getting over that gain line again and again, and you can see a few of the Russian players are getting sort of running repairs in the backfield there. They're certainly looking tired.
Yes, Japan here, of course, without their head coach Eddie Jones, who's recovering at home from ill health.
Just the ball carrier, boys, okay?
Certainly came as kind of shock to the rugby world when we heard of Eddie's health problems, and I'm sure if he's watching tonight, he'll have been lifted by this performance, certainly the second half performance, and I know that everybody in the rugby community wishes Eddie Jones well.
Come on, let's play.
Scott Wisemantle, who's had a pretty tough baptism as the stand-in interim coach, with that defeat by the All Blacks, even though Japan played so well for so long in that match, and then the defeat last week at Murrayfield.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a bit of a baptism of fire, but you know, there's been a lot for him to be pleased at. You know, particularly the Scotland performance. You know, up to 50 minutes, they were certainly in that game.
That was a maul. It would have been a turnover, but no advantage for the knock-on.
Yeah, he's going to bring it back here for the advantage to Russia from the knock-on.
No advantage, knock-on.
Yeah, game's gone a bit scrappy now. Obviously, you know, we know the Japanese are going to win this game. I think the Russians are just thinking, look, if we can keep it at 40-13, you know, we'll be happy with this. And you can see the sort of tiredness is creeping into both teams here.
Okay.
Change at hooker for Japan. Hiroki Yahara is on in place of Shota Hori. There goes Hori. He'll be playing Super Rugby again next year for the Melbourne Rebels.
Yeah, he's a very good player. You know, tonight you've seen him, he's carried well, but more importantly, you know, he's done what he's needed to do as a hooker. He's hit his men in the line out, and he's certainly held that scrum together, and they've started to get very dominant as the game goes on, so he's played very well.
Okay, just stay balanced, well on. Crouch. Now stand up. Oh, hang on. Let me talk.
Here comes the referee standing in the middle of six big men and telling them exactly what to do. And everyone there's got an opinion, all the front row players and the referee.
Well, okay. Scrums have been really good. Let's finish on a good note, please.
Luke Pearce wants it all to finish on a good note. There are some tired limbs and hearts that are beating just a little bit faster, I think, in that Russia front five.
Yeah, they've certainly had to make their fair share of tackles tonight, and you can see how that's affecting their set piece now.
I'm not happy.
I'm not happy, says Luke Pearce.
I'll come that side.
Yeah, he's making his. Oh, he's going to go to the other side, and I can tell you what's going to happen. It's all going to happen on the side he's not, and all the props will stand up and claim their innocence.
Stay off the arm for
40 points to 13. Japan lead on their way to a fifth win in these two sides' fifth meeting. It'll be Japan's first ever win in Wales. They played here in the World Cup back in 1999, and they've had a couple of other matches in Wales that were at neutral venues, as is tonight's, of course.
Oh, that's a great scrum by Japan.
The Russia pack in reverse. Somehow they've emerged with it. That's the fly off Sugarabov.
Yeah, that's great work there by the Japanese. I mean, like I say, I was very impressed with their set piece against Scotland and the All Blacks. And as the game's worn on, you can certainly see they've definitely got the edge in the scrum.
Taken forward by Fatakov up to the halfway line. Sugarabov again feeds out. It was Valinovsky wearing 22. And 3 minutes or so.
I see Russia with the ball in hand, but you can certainly see the difference in terms of the speed of their attack and the rucks and what have you. It's a lot slower than the Japanese ball.
Pressure really being applied here by Japan. Russia keeping possession, but if anything, going backwards. And then the knock-on, the pressure telling, and it came from Sergei Sugarabov.
Yeah, and there we sort of saw the difference in the teams, just in terms of that accuracy there. You know, the Russian attack, I know it's late in the game, but the ball they're producing is slow. Their forwards are not getting back to offer themselves in a threat. But the Japanese, their defence is really good, committing 1 or 2 to the contact area, and they're getting a full line of defenders out there and putting pressure on the Russian side.
Must use the ball quicker, okay.
Well, the Russians have made a change at scrum half, right at the death. Alexei Shaban comes on for his 10th cap.
Wait for the ball. It's good.
He replaces Anton Ryabov.
We got to play, so lads. Good to play.
So the last 2 minutes of the match. 13 points apiece at half-time, 27-0 in the last 37 minutes to Japan. It has been very one-sided in this second period.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm sure Japan would like to finish this game with another try, you know, to get as close to that 50 mark as they can.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Yes,
So Hiwasa with the put-in. In the control at the base. Hiwasa with a run there from Sau, who loses it forward in the tackle. Replacement scrum half, Shaban.
Back to the first one. Well, relax. No.
Well, that's the Artemiev trying to run the ball out of his own 22.
Back here. Knock on. Scrum Russia.
Here is Mali Sau being dispossessed a little too easily.
Okay. I want you really, really close now. Okay? Just to this scrum, I want you very close. No hit. Now, you can push once the ball is in, and you can show me your dominance.
Michael Broadhurst providing the interpretation from the referee Luke Pearce.
That's good, thank you. No step back.
The referee saying that you can show your domination, but you have to wait until the ball is put in.
Crouch.
So Alexei Shaban is
Bind.
almost certainly the last phase of the match.
Yes, 9.
There's the instruction, yes 9. Gresev, the quick strike from the hooker, Korshunov. Shaban on to Korshunov. There's Shaban again, taken back into the 22. The clearance kick from Shugrabov doesn't find touch. Koromaru. We're into the red numbers at the end of the match. An opportunity for Yamada. Looks very impressive with the ball in hand. There goes the whistle. The ball has gone forward. And the final whistle. Well, Russia certainly held their own in that first half. But more precision came from the Japanese in that second 40. Whatever was said at half-time certainly had the right impact. And Russia failed to trouble the scorers in that second half, with Russia winning it by 27 points to 0. There is the final score. Japan in the end making it 5 out of 5 in the history of the meetings of these two sides. Japan beating Russia by 40 points to 13. Their first meeting in 3 years. There were certainly two sides who came to this match with different approaches. Russia's first international match since the middle of June, when they went to the IRB Nations Cup in Romania. Japan, this is their 4th match of their November series, and their first victory after defeat by New Zealand, by Scotland, and then on Tuesday night by Gloucester. So in the end, the IRB rankings holding good. The side ranked in 14th spot, beating the Russians, who are 19th. And certainly for North Wales, it's been quite an occasion with these two second-tier rugby nations coming here. And fighting it out in North Wales. Well, there are the winners, who in the end have enjoyed their evening. The Japanese just coming over to this near touchline. The touchline in a couple of moments' time will be Chris Horseman, who's looking for somebody to speak to. We'll see the confirmation of the final score. Japan beating Russia by 40 points to 13. Well, let's go down to pitch side now. Chris Horseman is speaking to the Japanese captain, Toshiaki Hirose.
I'm joined with the Japanese captain. You must be pleased with tonight's performance, a good win in the end.
そうですね、最後は良かったですけども、前半のパフォーマンスは到底満足できるもんじゃなかったから、もう一回いいチームを作らないといけないと思います。
Very good second half performance, but in the first half, some very good play, both backs and forwards, but lacking a bit of an accuracy. What was said at half time by the coaches?
ボールキープすることがとても大事だから、そこのところ自分の個人の責任だという話しました。
Well done. I hope you've enjoyed your stay in North Wales and a very good performance by the Japanese side.
ありがとうございます。Thank you very much.
Well, that was Toshiaki Hirose, the Japanese captain, and one of the try scorers tonight. In the end, it has proved a comfortable victory for Japan, but Russia will leave North Wales with some encouragement. From myself, Martin Gillingham, and Chris Horseman, it's a very good night.